During a certain segment of the live, they went into discussing Black relationships. Black Womansphere said that she did not believe that it was possible for women in general, but specifically Black women, to have positive experiences with Black men. Now, she was talking about romantically, she was talking about father and daughter relationships, as well as mother and son relationships, right? A Black woman who has a Black son. Now, Nylah took personal offense to this because, as we all know, Nylah does have a really good relationship with her father. Nylah is a mother to a little Black boy, and Nylah is a woman who is married to a Black man, YouTuber Taz Exclusives. So Nylah took offense to this, and she actually confronted Black Womansphere, and it turned into a little bit of a messy argument between the two ladies, okay? The two ladies started going back and forth. Their voices definitely started to escalate, and things got heated. Nylah felt like Black Womansphere was taking a personal attack at her because she called her out in a way, and I could kind of see how Nylah felt that. Nylah also felt like her personal experiences were being invalidated because it didn't play along to a certain narrative, and she felt like women who have had positive experiences, they should be able to speak to their experiences without being shamed. But the Black Womansphere was maintaining that she was not personally calling out Nylah, but she was speaking in general terms. But since Nylah...
So, the young lady actually, I believe it's Crystal Logic. She was doing a coverage, giving her narrative of what happened on Cynthia G's panel. Now, you know, we've discussed here on Tough Love, we discussed Cynthia G and some of the rhetoric that she uses, I guess, to motivate Black men to do better. So I was listening to the panel, and Nylah says she did something that I found very impressive. And I wanted to highlight that because for some reason, when it comes to Black men and Black women, we say that Black men don't support Black women and vice versa or whatever. But I wanted to highlight what she did because I thought that what she did was very admirable. And also I thought that sometimes it only takes one person to really balance out a conversation amongst the masses. So I want to give a shout out to her because what she did, I believe that if more women did that, I believe that the conversation between Black men and women would go a lot smoother. Not that we would always agree, but it definitely would go a lot smoother or whatever. So I'm gonna let this thing play out. Salute to everybody coming into the room. Let's have this conversation. So hopefully you guys are enjoying your day. I'm gonna go ahead and let this thing play out. Salute to the content creator that is talking. Salute to her. I believe it's Crystal Logic. So fair use. We're gonna get to it.
Did take offense to it. Let's dig into that. Like, let's see why you're taking offense to it. Maybe there's something there. Now, things got so bad that Taz Exclusive jumped into Cynthia G's chat and he started typing, right? Black Womansphere saw that he was typing certain things in the chat and she got mad and said, well, if you want to type in the chat, you might as well hop. So he hopped on. Taz and Black Womansphere started going back and forth. And yeah, guys, it got really heated. Cynthia G was able to step in.
Do I have the link to the video? Yes, I got the link to the video. I'll make sure that I put it in the description. I'll make sure I do that after this. That way you guys can
and
hear
somewhat play middleman and kind of calm down the situation. But it definitely left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And it posed the question of, is Nylah Says Man, Taz Exclusive, the exception? And me personally, I don't want to make this just about Nylah Says. Okay. I don't want to personalize this to her. But let's just say if you're a Black woman that has had certain positive experiences with Black men, where it be your father, your little Black son, or a man that you're in a relationship with, a husband, a boyfriend, etc. Should we use those positive experiences and should we take them into account when we're having these discussions?
Of course we should. If you've had a positive experience with a Black man or a Black woman or the Black community, you should use those positive experiences. You shouldn't let the masses or statistics tell you that this person is bad because they're a Black man. This person is bad because they're a Black woman. This person is bad because somebody else said so. Take into consideration that there are a lot of people that have been hurt, abused, They didn't get what they wanted out the situation. So the fact of the matter is now they have this overwhelming need to make sure everybody else don't like you. Because normally here's the issue. What I find, y'all seen Jerry Maguire when the guy was like, Tom Cruise was like, not Tom Cruise, the other guy, the black guy. I forgot his name, but he was like, no, it was Tom Cruise, I think. He was like, who's coming with me? As he was walking out the door, he was talking to everybody that was around. Who's coming with me? If you're going to walk out the door, if you're going to hate, if you're going to be disgusted or divest, do it by yourself. Bye. We ain't going to miss you. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for men and women. I think a lot of people, they're not brave enough to do it by themselves. They have to make an announcement that they're doing it. It's like when someone says, I'm going to unsubscribe. Bye. I'm just saying it just feels like to me that it always needs to be this rally that, well, I don't like this. So instead of you individually just not liking it, you now collectively have to get a bunch of people with you so that way you guys can team up on not liking whatever that is. And that's why I said I felt like Nylah in this conversation, she was like, look, I understand that there's an issue with black men. I understand that there are some black men out there not doing what they're supposed to do. I totally agree. I understand that there's some black women out there not doing what they're supposed to do. I totally agree. But when you get those good ones, can I talk to somebody? When you find someone they're not like everybody else. They are providers, they're protectors, they're role models, they're confident, they're God-fearing, they're loving, they're great partners, they're consistent, they're great moms, they're great dads. That's something to cheer about. That's something to be excited about. And maybe it's just me. I'm going to let y'all hear it. But I felt like she was excited about saying, I have a good man. I have a great son. I have a great relationship with my father. And to me personally, I didn't like how, I think it was the Womansphere podcast. I didn't like how she was like, well, we're not going to worry about your personal experiences. We're just going to talk about the overall scheme of things. Well, here's the thing. How your personal experiences affected you is how you're going to look at the overall scheme of things. It's going to be difficult for you to say all black men or all black women when you've had a great relationship with the opposite sex. So you're not going to look at it with such a disdain. You're not going to look at it with such a distrust. You're going to look at it and say, well, I realize this is not all. Nylah in this particular panel brought balance to the conversation. And this is what I've been saying about Cynthia G. I feel like, hey, your message just seems so one-dimensional because we do more of name calling, dusties and trash bags and this and this and this versus saying, are there any good black men left? Let's listen more.
About black men, should we use the exceptions and take them into account when we're having this discussion, or should we just keep it in general broad terms? Okay, so that was definitely a question that was posed here. So comment down below what you think before I play the clips. Pause this video and comment down below. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna play some of these clips and we're gonna get into exactly what was said.
Black women have to understand that they don't believe that you deserve less.
Can we just address the fact that black relationships are a struggle? Like black women don't even want to accept that.
Ladies and gentlemen, all relationships are a struggle. Whether it's financially, whether it's because someone is not consistent, somebody is not loyal, somebody is not trustworthy. All relationships have issues. Everything's not perfect. Whether you date outside your race, you date inside your race, whether you're dating the same gender, same sex, etc. All relationships require work. All of them. I just wanted to say that.
Like the fact that you are with a black man, he is on the bottom totem pole in society economically when it comes to his respect. No other group of men that is over him economically. And when it comes to the government and the patriarchal society, everybody is above the black man. So technically, your relationship is a struggle.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I'm trying not to piss nobody off right early. It's early. Okay, I'm drinking water. It's early. My allergies are acting up. It's early. Check this out, y'all. If you feel that black men are on the bottom, the low totem pole or whatever, if black men are on the bottom, right, where are black women at? Like, you feel like all other races are better than black men, or all other races of men are better than black men, and black men are on the bottom. Where in society do you place black women? Do you place them side by side with black men? You place them above? You place them underneath? Where exactly are you placing black women? I'm just throwing it out there. I just want to really throw some balance in this conversation, because I noticed that when certain people speak, they speak at a level of discontentment. That, like, they speak with a certain ill will. So I'm gonna let her finish. But I just felt like when you say black men like on the bottom, and I'm like, well, black men are on the bottom. Wouldn't black women be on the bottom as well? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Your marriage is a struggle. Your relationship with your son, struggle. Your relationship with your father,
I have to stop right here because I don't have those struggles.
So here, Nylah must have gotten triggered.
I'm sorry.
Relationship with your son, struggle. Your relationship with your father.
Let me back up a little bit. What's happening right now? What's happening right now is Nylah, the Black Womansphere is basically saying that black men are on the low totem pole, et cetera, when it comes to all men. My question was, if black men are on the bottom feeders, right? Where does that place black women? What's getting ready to happen is Nylah says is going to come in and say, well, I don't got them problems. Like my man, my son, my dad, they there are exceptions to the rule. And I want you to see how this things out. Here we
when black women don't even want to accept that. Like, the fact that you are with a black man, he is on the bottom totem pole in society economically when it comes to his respect. No other group of men that is over him economically. And when it comes to the government and the patriarchal society, everybody is above the black man. So technically, your relationship is a struggle. Your marriage is a struggle. Your relationship with your son, struggle. Your relationship with your father,
I have to stop right here because I don't have those struggles.
So here, Nylah must have gotten triggered because the Black Womansphere was speaking on black fathers, black sons, and black husbands, which all three of them relate to Nylah. So I'm guessing Nylah felt like Black Womansphere was taking personal shots at her, but I don't think that's what Black Womansphere was doing at all. I just feel like maybe certain things applied, or because she has those positive relationships with black men in her life, she's just internalizing what Black Womansphere is saying.
So I don't.
It is a struggle. When it comes to society, it's a struggle.
No, I don't have a struggle, and I respect the fact that many women do have that struggle, but I don't have one.
Okay.
And so what I'm not going to do is, for the sake of conversation, act like the majority of men don't. And I'm not even calling people unicorns. I won't even call my situation a unicorn. But what I will say is that emphatically, my relationship with my son, my husband, or my father is not a struggle.
You add balance to the conversation. Kudos, black woman. Kudos and salute. You add balance to the conversation. Everybody can't say, well, all black men are just bad. All black men are dusties. So when she says, hey, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I'm willing to have this conversation, but I got a good news story. I got a testimony. And she could have sat on that panel, right? She could have sat on that panel and not said nothing. You see what I'm saying? Well, we're not, DOD, I got you, but this is what I'm saying, right? This is what I'm saying. I don't know if they married, not married. I don't really care about that. Like, I'm not getting into the personal side. What I'm saying is she could have sat on the panel and not said anything. You understand what I'm saying? She could have just said, well, let's go with the dusty theory. Let's go with the trash bag theory. Let's go that all black men don't want to be fathers. All black men don't want to be in the home, don't want to support their kids. Let's go with that theory. For argument's sake. Hey, we on Cynthia G's panel. We not about to push back. She pushed back. Here's the thing. ladies and gentlemen, there are young, impressionable people. There are hurt people. There are vindictive people. There are people that's been abused. They are looking for something to navigate to. It's like a beacon, right? So when you come to Cynthia G's panel, and Cynthia G is saying, hey, these black men do not want to be fathers. They do not want to. And it's like it plays in your mind. But when you hear someone say, I got a good one. He's doing what he's supposed to do. What it does is it creates hope. You understand what I'm saying? It snuff out their light. You tell them that, hey, listen, it may be somebody out there for you. Keep hope alive. Not just divest and leave black men alone altogether, or black men, young black unborn babies shouldn't even be born. Think about the psyche of that. But when you hear someone say, let me tell you my testimony, let me give you my experiences, it changes the narrative. That means there is someone out there that is possibly for you that is of your race. You see what I'm saying? So let's think about what she's doing right now. Now, I'm not saying she's champion for all black men. I'm saying that when you have the opportunity to speak with authority, speak with power, speak with conviction, articulate what you mean the first time. She said what she meant. I don't have that issue. So I want to let it be known. She could have just closed it and not said anything. But the fact that she did just gave somebody else hope out there. That's my thoughts.
But I don't have a cape on for those who are perpetuating those things either. So acknowledging that,
Nixon.
Just because I didn't go through it does not mean that it is not a horrible problem, that it's a horrible situation, and that most women are going to experience it. I don't have a problem with admitting that. I don't have a problem with admitting that I've seen my sisters go through some of this stuff, that I've seen friends go through that stuff. But I don't have to deny or say, yeah, I'm in the struggle too, if I'm not in the struggle, because that would be lying.
I feel like I understand where Nylah is coming from. She has to be careful to not use her own positive personal experiences as scapegoats from the main issues that we're facing.
That is, and no disrespect to the content creator that's talking, but that's stupid as shit. Let's go with the panel is to discuss about divesting from black men and et cetera, and how bad they are. And then when you get someone that says, well, not all of them, we got to remember it's not all. Most of us base how we feel about certain things from our personal experience. From our personal experience, how we deal with people. Because if we just use statistics and say, oh, well, all black men are bad because of this, this, and this, based on statistics. However, we don't deal with black men directly. We will never get that interaction, that personal feel. So why would you tell her, well, man, we shouldn't use your personal good experiences. We should just talk about the bad. We should just harp on the bad. That is the wrong message to send. You have to have a balanced conversation. Okay, you had some issues with black men. Okay, got it. You're not having those issues. Let's have a conversation. Not when you get a bunch of people that just hate black men. You're promoting a narrative. What is the difference between a bunch of men or a bunch of women, whether you black, white, or indifferent? Let's just say black, right? And we get together and we talk about how bad the other gender is. Well, what separates that narrative of propaganda and that rhetoric from the KKK? We both hate. We both think they're no good. We both think they should be wiped from the earth. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? So when you have someone like Nylah sit on this, not everybody, not everyone. Matter of fact, I got a good news story for you guys. It's like when she said that, immediately she started getting pushback. Even the content creator was like, well, leave your personal good experiences out of the conversation. We don't want people to hear that.
Facing in the black community, the main problem, right, of black men harming black women, disrespecting black women. not being in the lives of their children, et cetera, et cetera. So you trying to use your husband, your son, your father as, scapegoats, or to be like, oh, not all, because look at these men in my life. I feel like if anything, that takes away from the message.
What's the message? I want to hear this again. What's the message? Did I miss something? What do you want the message to be? I want you guys to hear this. What's the mess? It takes, by you saying that you have a positive black man in your life. Your father is a positive black man. Your husband is a positive black man. Your son is a positive black man. By you saying those things, it takes away from the message. Ladies and gentlemen, for those Cynthia G followers, right? And for those that are like Cynthia G, right? I'm asking you right now, what is the message? Respectfully, what is the message? If you can't talk about the good and only talk about the bad, what's the message? Let's get back into
issues that we're facing in the black community, the main problem, right, of black men harming black women, disrespecting black women, not being in the lives of their children, et cetera, et cetera. So you trying to use your husband, your son, your father as, scapegoats, or to be like, oh, not all, because look at these men in my life. I feel like if anything, that takes away from the message.
What I was trying to say is this. What I'm trying to say is that your man is on the bottom of the totem pole economically and due to the dominant society, so that technically makes it a struggle.
Can you imagine somebody telling you that your husband? I don't even want to exclude women in this. Can you imagine somebody telling you, your spouse, telling them that they're on the bottom of the totem pole? Can you imagine the audacity, the level of cockiness that comes along with that? Somebody telling you, this is not a private conversation, right? This is public. Telling you that they feel that your man or your wife, right, is on the bottom when it comes to every other race. Suppose you guys just bought a new house, 5-bedroom house. Suppose you guys just traveled to Dubai. You got property. You got money in the bank, savings. You got employees because you an employer, right? You doing very well for yourself. Imagine someone coming along and saying, well, based on statistics, you as a black man, oh, you on the bottom. But I'm living good. I'm able to do everything that you feel my white counterparts, Oriental counterparts, Hispanic I'm able to do everything everybody else can do. I ain't on Section 8. I got vehicle access. I can catch flights. I got credit cards. My name is a staple. You understand what I'm saying? So I have power. I'm able to network. I have a college degree. And imagine someone coming up because they have a disdain for black men or black women, telling you based on society, you a bottom feeder. Well, damn.
The collective is, and individually,
some in general are.
Okay, so they're right. The collective is, but they're white men outside waiting for him to give him money.
What I'm saying is black men in general are at the bottom economically, so that creates a struggle.
If black men economically are at the bottom, where are black women? We gotta have this conversation. I know it's tough. I know some people like, oh God, please don't say nothing wrong, Tough Love. Don't piss her off. If black men are at the bottom, where are black women? Where have you placed black women? I'm gonna tag you in this, and I really would love a response. Where have you placed the status of black women? If black men are at the bottom when it comes to all other races or the white man, right? Because you keep saying the white man, right? Where are black women?
Right. So your relationship and your marriage is technically a struggle.
When you say your man, you're talking directly to me.
No.
No, Nyla, you're the one that's honestly personalizing the entire situation. Like, she's talking about how black men are looked upon in society, and you start talking about, oh, well, this white guy's waiting for my black husband to give him some money. Okay, but that's one case, one circumstances. That's not the case for the majority of black men.
But that's her truth. That's her fact statement. That's her factual statement. Why is she not allowed to implement something that goes against the status quo of black men don't have property, black men work up under white men? Like, why is she not allowed to say, no, there's some white people outside right now waiting to pay my husband or X, Y, and Z? And I feel like anything to say that black men are not good is the narrative, is the push. And even if you have examples, see, what happened was they didn't feel like Nylah was going to say those things. So she quickly was like, well, let's cut you to a point where your personal experiences don't matter now. Now your personal experience doesn't matter here. Because we don't want these women that's been following us, right? These, let's just say beta males. We don't want these men that's been following us and donating to us and listening to our rhetoric of saying we need to divest. Now, there's going to be some things that happen during this conversation that I'm going to point out, because I listened to this and I was really laughing. I said, I got to talk about this. I'm gonna wait till we get there. I'm not gonna jump ahead. I'm gonna let this.
Most black men work for the white man, not the other way around, and we all know this.
Oh, I was talking my opinion
in general. Yeah, I thought she was talking in general.
Okay.
And I always say that.
My bad.
I always say that. You're just identifying with it, so let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about it. You did just identify because you made it personal.
As many other people are saying, because I've seen women say, look, I didn't have a dusty daddy. But what you said specifically, emphatically, was if you're in a relationship or if you're married, as a married woman, I do have to say that, because you know what they do with our strings.
Master Viper, that might be true.
Yeah. But I'm not talking about that, though. I don't care. I'm not going to keep voicing my opinion based off what people do with our strings. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
This is my opinion. It's been my opinion forever before I even met a Nylah and Taz. So my opinion is this. My opinion is this, Nylah. It doesn't have anything to do with you and Taz. This is my opinion. My opinion is that
I share it.
I know. I understand what you're saying, Nylah. Right. But what I'm trying to say is this. If you are in a relationship and you act like I'm not with black men, or I don't date black men. So I just got out of.
Remember when I said I wasn't going to jump forward? That's the part I was waiting for. You made this statement that black men are beneath white men based on statistics. So why would you be dating a black man? Like, is that what you're saying to that black man's face? Are you going into a relationship, going on dates with black men, and you're saying, well, you know that you're on the low end. You're at the bottom of every other man. Now, suppose we go back to what I said earlier about this black man being college educated, have credit, has businesses, et cetera, has employees. Can you imagine sitting there listening to a woman tell you how unsuccessful you are based on statistics? I can't. I'm sorry. It's funny to me, like, and then you turn around and say, well, I date black men too. What black man is sitting around listening to that? What black man is sitting around listening to that? Jesus Christ. Come on, let's go.
Have a relationship with a black man.
I gotta.
Now, my opinion forever before I even met a Nylah and Taz. So my opinion is this. My opinion is this, Nylah. It doesn't have anything to do with you and Taz. This is my opinion. My opinion is that.
Your opinion is that black men are beneath all other races of men. Or is it a fact? Because if black men are beneath all other races of men, where does that put black women? in regards to all races of women. If you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like black men, leave them alone. Don't talk about them. Don't go around them. Don't have kids with them. Because here's my issue. Don't date black men, then get online and say what that you have this great disdain for black men, that they are bottom feeders, etc., etc., etc. Because to me, it seems a bit disingenuous. Because there's no way in the world that a confident man, okay, or a confident woman would sit with someone who says these things online. We're going to the movies. We're getting married. We're going to produce some great healthy kids. You're not going to be able to give 110% to that relationship if you're spreading this narrative. You're snuffing out people's light that need someone to inspire them to say, hey, listen. Even if we say, you know what, we're going to talk about Dusties, we're going to talk about trash bag men, we're going to talk about people, men not wanting to be home in the homes and trustworthy and loyalty, etc., etc., etc. You have to have someone like Nylah says on your panel to say, well, hey, this is my experience. Hell, you have people call in. Hey, if you've had a good experience with black men, please call in. Feel free to call in. If you're going to inspire people, inspire them to be positive, inspire them to work together, inspire them to learn their love languages and learn how to communicate and be patient. That's not happening. You're promoting not just how bad black men are, but the fact of the matter is you're promoting every other race of men that you don't know. Just like you don't know all black men. So you should talk about your experiences with black men, not, what somebody told you about black men or what a piece of paper said about a black man. I hear you, DOD. I hear you. I actually addressed Taz in one of my videos or whatever case may be. I actually addressed it.
I share it.
I know. I understand what you're saying, Nylah. Right. But what I'm trying to say is this: if you are in a relationship, and you act like I'm not with black men, or I don't date black men. So I just got out of a relationship with a black man.
Now, guys, this is honestly what confuses me about the movement. Because I understand, what Sin was saying about her not wanting to birth a black male baby because, she just feels like the environment is just too toxic for any young black male to come up and be men.
So
listen to what the commentator says about Cynthia G saying that she don't want to birth a black male child. If you feel like it's more difficult to raise a black male child in this society, how does your narrative, your content, make it any better for any black man right now? How does it? How does it?
I just got out of a relationship with a black man.
I don't believe that.
Now, guys, this is honestly what confuses me about the movement, because I understand, what Sin was saying about her not wanting to birth a black male baby because, she just feels like the environment is just too toxic for any young black male to come up and be positive or productive. So I kind of understand that. But then why not push out the narrative that black women should stop sleeping with black men, right? Dating black men, like the Black Womansphere just said. She was just in a relationship with a black man. You guys are still sleeping with.
Listen to what she just said. Why not push out the narrative that black women should stop sleeping with black men? Why not promote it? How could that be bad? The same women that are telling you how bad black men are logging off and going to climb in bed, going on dates, having sex, being around in groups with the opposite sex that they say ain't shit, that are on the bottom totem pole. Ladies and gentlemen, I call what this is acting. I call this what this is as promoting hate speech. There is no way in the world that if you are a logical individual, right? Someone say, hey, you need to go on Cynthia. Listen, I'm not trying to debate Cynthia G. I know numerous positive black women that don't sit online and do that, right? I know numerous positive black men that are great fathers, that are entrepreneurs. So when they say what they say, if it don't apply, let it fly. This is the issue, because you have people listening to this that won't that for some reason what's being said right now will go over their head, and all they will get out of this is how bad black men are. But they won't get this. Well, I just got out of a relationship with a black man. How many videos have you done while you was in that relationship telling women how bad black men are, but yet you were in a relationship? I can only assume that y'all was having sex. I can only assume that y'all were doing the dating thing, going out in public. So why would you tell women to divest when you're not divesting? Leave black men alone. Don't talk about them. Don't go around them. If you have such a disdain, you can't say, well, yeah, you know what I'm saying, I'm about to go call Mike over, you know what I'm saying, so he can come hit this thing, because you know. It don't make sense. It's not logical. It's not logical. It don't make sense. You have a great disdain for black men. Black men are bad. If you know good black men, hell, he had to be a good guy if you wanted to date him, right? Then that's the guy that should have been on your show saying, you know what, this guy is an exception to the rule. You handle things individually and on a case-by-case basis. When you start putting everybody in the same group and promoting a disdain, then what you're doing is you're selling yourself short and you're selling your audience short. Because if you're saying that you date the same men, you're telling everybody else not to date, well, I guess that just leaves more black men for you.
Black men, that's kind of what gets me. Like, if we're divesting from these men, we don't want to birth them, we don't want anything to do with them, why are we still sharing our bodies with them? Why are we still dating them? Shouldn't we just like leave them alone? I don't know. Comment down below. Let me know what you think on that part and that aspect.
If you don't like black women, leave them alone. Don't talk about them. Don't disrespect them. Don't go near them. Leave them alone. If you don't like black men, don't talk about them. Don't disrespect them. Leave them alone. You don't got to name call them. You got to make a bunch of content about them. You ain't got to show everybody how bad they are. Leave them alone. If I don't like something, I'm not going to continuously dive into what I don't like. I'm not going to continuously talk about or promote. Oh, well, I know I don't like this, but let me keep on dealing with it. No, I'm going to address it and I'm going to leave it alone. So do you like black men or do you not like black men? Which one is it?
Of the community.
And it was still a struggle. And you know what?
Here's the thing. Let's let all of us leave our personal experiences.
And this is where I know a lot of you guys follow Cynthia G and yay, right? This is where I see Cynthia G trying to protect her coin, right? Her ducats, right? Let's leave our positive personal experiences out of this. This is what she's trying to convince the panel right now, but really not. She's not saying, hey, you about to mess up my brand, because I'm all about calling black men dusties, et cetera, and you messing it up right now, Nylah. Be quiet. Don't say nothing about your personal experiences. And I'm not going to keep on talking. I'm going to rewind it just a tad bit because I want you to see how she comes in. Everybody knows Cynthia G's voice. And I want you to see how she comes in. And she doesn't say, hey, the Womansphere podcast. She don't say, okay, hey, fall back. She's just saying, okay, well, because right now the only thing that's on the table in reference to personal experiences is the fact that Nylah says I don't have those problems with black men like that. I understand that those problems exist, but that's not a immediate concern of mine. Oh, be quiet. Let's not use our personal experience. Let's leave that out the way. All right, let's listen to it. Let's see if that was the Bible.
It's a struggle to me because where they are economically and due to the government, not who we are personally dealing with each other, looking in our faces every day, but due to the dominant society of what it is, they are on the lesser. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. They are on the lesser. They are lesser than all races of men, especially white men. That is just a fact. And if they don't want to believe that, good for them. But I'm gonna tell you, that's what you are, brother. You do not rise above white men. You don't, not economically, not due to the government, none of that. You don't. So what we supposed to do? Just lie to them and keep them in a safe place so they never rise above and get better because we want to keep lying to them? No, when it comes to men, especially.
She think by black men hearing this, that black men, by I guess this is her version of tough love, right? My tough love, right, is not to cripple you and rip you up and break you down. My tough love is to listen to your argument, your concern, and be patient enough to wait for you to finish your statement, even though it makes me feel a certain type of way, and allow you to speak and listen so I can comprehend and understand, and then give you back how I feel. Articulate the first time how I feel so we can continue that dialogue. We may not agree, but at least we can say we started the conversation. Your tough love is about tearing men down, and you think by saying the things that you're saying online is going to build up a strong race of men. Is going to champion men to say, I need to change because this woman was online tearing me down. Even though I'm a father, she says I'm not a father. Even though I'm a business owner, she says I'm not a business owner. She says I'm the lower tier of all races of men. When's the last time you think she's been to a board meeting where there was predominantly Oriental men, predominantly white men? Like when do you feel like she is, and this is no knock. This is no knock, right? But when is the last time you think she sat in a boardroom, right? And she had the power to tell anybody anything. I've sat in boardrooms and I've seen different races of men all have equal power. So to say that because you're black, you have black skin and you were born a male, you're lower tier. I wonder, does she have any kids, any sons? Would that be like mental abuse? Would that be emotional abuse? Would that be child abuse? Like to tell your son that you can't be anybody because statistics say that you're going to leave your family and you're going to make a whole lot of babies and not take care of them. You're not going to be successful. Your credit's going to be low. You're going to be uneducated. So what is your job as a parent? What is your job as a wife or a girlfriend, as a spouse? What is your job as an adult? You're leaving these young men out there to fend for themselves. You're disrespecting any man out there that's actually doing the work, putting in the work. And you're praising white men that you don't know. Jesus Christ. You're praising white men that you don't know. If I was white, I'd be like, man, shit, I got it made. I ain't got to do no work just because of my white skin. I'm in there based on this rhetoric. I think that's sad. I think that's sad.
White men. That is just a fact. And if they don't want to believe that, good for them. But I'm going to tell you, that's what you are, brother. You do not rise above white men. You don't. Not economically, not due to the government, none of that. You don't. So what we supposed to do? Just lie to them and keep them in a safe place so they never rise above and get better? Because
what are we supposed to do? Just lie to them and keep them in a safe place. is what you doing creating change? Is what you doing promoting a positive outcome? Or are you creating more discord, more disdain? We have enough issues if we talk about racism or systematic racism or black on black crime, and we talk about all of these other things, but we have women and men online waking up every day to promote hate speech. That's what it is. This is not empowering anyone. This is pulling on the heartstrings of anybody that's ever been hurt, abused, anybody that the relationship didn't quite work out the way they wanted to. Come over here. Yeah. You hate men? Come on. You've just been hurt. Okay. Y'all was in a relationship. You was pregnant. You lost the baby. Y'all went y'all separate ways. You thought that he should have stayed. But now you kind of on the fence whether you hate him or not. Except you hate him. You come here. You hate him. That's what, listen, you hate him. Okay? He's a dusty. Yeah, trash bag. You promote that on a daily basis. Let's get back to it. I'm just saying.
We want to keep lying to them? No. When it comes to white men, you do not win against white men. No minority group has. None. Is that a lie? Like, am I saying something that's not true?
Ladies and gentlemen, when she says win, what's the prize? We are all trying to live our best life within our small bubble, the things that we can affect. Whether that's our jobs, our families, our livelihood. Everybody don't get to affect the world. You understand what I'm saying? Even though they want to, we only can control what we can touch. Now, if I'm successful in my bubble, right? How can you tell me I'm not winning? How can you tell me that because I don't live in a mansion, but I live in like a 5-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house. You know, I pay my mortgage on time. I drive my car. You know, I take trips. The family's good. We got money. We got food in the bank. Like we okay. We happy. How can you tell them they're not winning? You'll never beat a white man. And then she asks the question, am I lying? You're lying. You are lying. Because the average person, if you have certain things and you're okay, you're comfortable, you work to a degree where you and your spouse, or maybe just you've done things so that way you can live a decent life. How can you tell them that they're not winning based on statistics? You're discouraging people for no reason.
Well, we know that all Black people in general is subject to systematic dominance. So, there shouldn't be an argument over whether.
Hold on, wait a minute, because you know I done said some things about Cynthia G. Wait. Good job, Cynthia G. Good job. All Black people, all Black, not just Black men, not just Black women, all. So this same system that you're talking about that Black men are underneath, guess who else is underneath it? Guess who else is a subject underneath it? So if we're at the bottom trying to get to the top, guess who's trying to get to the top too? Black women. So here's the thing. Hey, you know what? Hey, you're a little bit better at math than I am. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let me help you up. Oh, you're a little bit better at coming up with a business plan. Let me help you up. Versus, let me tear you down, crabs in a barrel. So what you say is, instead of trying to pull them down, let's get rid of all the Black men. You're going to see women fighting on this panel, arguing on this panel. What exactly was the positive outcome? So do white women look at this panel and say, well, they can't even get along. Black women can't get along, but you're steadily trying to rip up Black men. Let's talk about it.
There's one individual Black man that's exempt from systemic oppression. That shouldn't even be an argument. It's really a moot point. because the bottom line of it is Black men are not resolving systemic oppression. So, moot point. Bottom line of it is that we're at a critical issue.
Black men are not resolving systemic oppression. It is not Black men's job to do that. It's not their sole responsibility to go fight the government. Let me tell you something. There are more Black women on Section 8 and get more resources from the government than Black men do. Somebody jump in the comments and tell me that ain't the truth. Somebody jump in the comments. Most Black dudes don't even know how to get the shit. I'm just saying. So you getting all of this support. Matter of fact, they say, well, as long as you don't have no man living with you and it's just you and your kids, okay, cool, you good. You straight. But that's the assistance from the government that you're saying that's oppressing Black men, but giving Black women a hand up. And you feel, instead of saying, well, let me support Black men, let me just point out the fact that they are being oppressed. Okay.
Listen, if y'all keep calling Nylah names, I'm gonna block you. It just is what it is. Don't call anybody on the panel any name.
And this is my issue with Cynthia G. I'm actually on a link that I can't drop the what's her name. But salute. Here's my concern about Cynthia G and what she just said. She was like, don't call nobody names. You know, it's not about that, you know, especially people that are on the panel, whatever. But I sit down when I get an opportunity to listen to your content and I listen to you call names. That is a part of your rhetoric. That is a part of your narrative. Dusties and trash can and all the trash bags and all this other stuff or whatever. And my thought process is, and the commentator is going to come in and say some stuff too. So let me just wait. I'll wait. I'm gonna wait.
Let them call me names. Okay, we have these conversations all the time, but when I get to dragging y'all ugly asses, then don't be a victim.
You're right. And it's
So
like,
don't
cry victim and don't talk to me when she drills you. So say what if you feel like you bold enough to say what you got to say, because you don't got to insult nobody. You can disagree, but you don't got to throw insults.
Cynthia G, come get some of this tough love. Come here. Come on, sis. You can disagree, but you ain't got to call people names. So why do you do it? Why are other content creators that promote that one-dimensional narrative of I have such a disdain for the opposite sex? Why are we making up names for each other? Why are we calling names? See, the thing about it is it's like, it's so funny what you allow on your channel, what you allow in your house. And then when it doesn't suit you, when it's not beneficial to you, now let's stop it. It's no need for it. We're grown, we're adults. Keep that same energy when you're talking about Black men. And then for those Black men that don't like Black women, keep that same energy. If you don't want people calling names and disrespecting, you can disagree without insulting people and calling them names. You just said that, Cynthia G. You just said that.
When she drills you and then potentially block you, don't come to me complaining because you were calling her name.
I definitely agree with this. You can disagree with someone without name calling them and insulting them. We as Black women already get name called and insulted.
Whoever this content creator is, right? I don't know her personally, but I am sure she listens to what's being said about Black men. She comes back and say, Black women already get called so many names. I don't know how many of you guys are just discovering this channel, Tough Love or whatever case be. Have you ever listened to my content and I came up with a nickname for Cynthia G. I came up with a nickname for this person, a nickname for like I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that, and it's taking it somewhere where it shouldn't be. I want you to take what I'm saying serious. I want you to know that I'm being assertive, and I want you to know that I'm being direct. I'm not playing games with you. You understand what I'm saying? So my thought process is, if you are standing by and on everything that you're saying, you shouldn't be playing games either. Right? So if you are a content creator, like this content creator right here, is stating that, well, black women get called so many names. Well, that's not by all black men. Weak people got to call names. Weak people got to make something. They think that's funny, that's entertainment. But if you sit around and you listen to that, that says a lot about you and your character. And the fact that she didn't address Cynthia G by saying, hey, you do that. You do that, so it's okay for you to do it, but other people can't do it. Don't point out just one narrative. Don't point out just one narrative. Don't say, well, black women get called names. Well, black men get called names. Let's just say stop it across the board. That's the type of things that needs to be said. Those are the type of messages that should be pushed. But that's why I said we lose a bit of ground when we always try to say, well, let me point the finger over here. Let me deflect. No, pick up the mirror and say, am I doing what I'm telling everybody else not to do?
Enough. We do not need to be doing it to one another.
You don't need to call people names. You can disagree with what they're saying. You can even challenge what they're saying, but you don't get to disrespect anybody on the panel. That being said, I don't believe that there's any one black person, male or female, that's exempt from systematic racism in this country.
No, but I agree with that. And so that you guys are clear, I agree with the overall premise, but I misheard something when she said that. And it was like, it was kind of, and I felt like I had to say something because I did see other women in the chat say, well, you know, that really wasn't our experiences. And I don't want women to think that just because you haven't had that experience with the man, that you have to pretend like you did. And as a matter of fact, I find it admirable when you haven't had the negative experiences, but you got sense enough and compassion enough to see when women have and to understand that it's still a problem.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I definitely can relate to what Nylah is saying here. Me personally, I didn't have a bad relationship with my father. I actually have a great relationship with my father and my stepfather. I have great relationships with the majority of my uncles, right? And as far as dating, I've had pretty positive experiences dating men of all different races, including black men, right? I would say other than like one, I've had pretty positive experiences. So I don't think that women need to fabricate the things that have happened to them in their life, but I think that we can look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I see this on social media a lot. I see people really not having a support system and using social media as not only an outlet, but to bond with other people. I'm listening to this content creator right here say, great relationship with my uncles, great relationship with my father, great relationship with my stepdad. So what's all the conversation about black men don't want to be in the homes and black men don't want to help raise kids? Like, yes, those things are happening. But when you get this good news story, those things need to be promoted as well. But this is what happens when somebody says something about fabricating. What happens is, in order to be on the team, I must have an issue with black men. Whether it's true or false. In order to be, I'm talking about, hold on, Manosphere. Whoa, don't get excited. Bring your ass here. In order to be on the team, I must say I have an issue with black women. And here's the thing. You can't just have a small issue, because now you want to be the big dog. You want to be the savage. You want to be the person that got everybody's attention. So your disdain for black men or black women has to be over the top. So you fabricate the story. You fabricate about how many relationships you've been in that have been bad with black women. How many relationships that you've been in with black men that have been so crazy. How the baby daddy never wants to be with his children. How the baby mom is always ratchet. You start pulling on the heartstrings and promoting so much negativity that you get lost in the story. Come here. I'm losing some people. Come here. Come here. We've had the Womansphere podcast say, hey, I dated black men. I just got out of a relationship with black men. Right? So that's a positive. We had the content creator, right? That I'm showing. I'm kind of streaming her broadcast. Fair use. She just said that she had a great relationship with her father and her stepfather and her uncles. Then Nylah says, my husband, my son, and my father are good. Sounds like there's some positive black men out there. Based on what you're saying. This is the reason we have tough love, ladies and gentlemen. This is the reason we do what we do over here. Let's go.
Look at statistics, data, we can look at trends and things like that, and we can come to a conclusion. Regardless of whether that conclusion goes against our personal experience, the conclusion is still the conclusion, and we do have to take action.
So this is the whole thing with even having these conversations. People do personalize it because I do have a black husband. You see people in here telling me I'm homeless, right? Mm-hmm. I'm homeless, but you cleaning your own toilets. Maria cleaned mine yesterday. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
You can just analyze the rate of divorce, and you can make a conclusion that most marriages are struggling because, again, happily married couples do not divorce. So you can look at the divorce rate in the Black community, and that doesn't mean every single last one of them, but you can make conclusions about the overall. And so that's what I think it is. But I just don't.
I'm agreeing with Cynthia G right now. I'm agreeing with her. I don't know if she's saying that the majority of the divorce rate is because of men or not. So I'm not going to insinuate that's what she's saying. However, I'm hoping that that's not a narrative being pushed, because we know both men and women are responsible for a relationship, right? Yeah. She said Maria cleaned her toilet. I think that was a little bit too much, but I get what she's saying. Yeah.
I don't think anybody should use their father, their brother, or their own personal relationship. I mean, I know certain black men who are good. I can just say, well, I know some black men who don't engage in this behavior.
So why don't you promote them? Cynthia G, right? With all due respect, why don't you promote them? Yeah, I know some. Okay, cool. Why don't you promote them? Do y'all think that's too much to ask? I want to ask the Cynthia G sympathizers, supporters, fanatics, fans, whatever you want to call yourself. Why don't you promote the black men that you know are good black men? That are far from what it is that you talk about on a regular basis. What would that do to your channel? What would that do? Would that slow down your donations? Because people are seeing that, hey, you know what? You're providing balance to your platform or whatever. Would people shy away from you? Because I'm thinking that if these black men that you know that are positive and good, I'm thinking once you bring them on the show, well, I'm thinking you're not about to call them dusty. I'm thinking you're not about to say, oh, well, you know, you're not a good father. I'm thinking that's going to go against the whole narrative of, you know what, maybe we should start hunting and promoting the good stuff. Now, should we point out things that we feel? Tough Love does it all the time. Should we point out things that concern us? Yes. But should we harp on it? Should we harp on it? Because I truly believe, I've listened to Cynthia G. I've listened to a lot of these content creators. I've sat back just like this. Well, not like this, but in a lounge chair, just chilling. And I'm listening. What happens if we start promoting building together? What happens? What example do we set for the children of tomorrow?
But that's anecdotal. So I don't think
it is.
Even focusing on that.
And I mean, we know that the majority of these men, yes, economically, the collective, you cannot separate from that as far as how they are viewed economically, systemically, whatever. They are all in that category. But what I thought, especially because at first I was, I can follow the conversation and understand that we're talking about a larger group. But when I saw that even other people were saying, well, that it is true that some of us didn't have that. And it is sometimes, it does sometimes come off as, some people feel like they can't say that they had, a positive experience. Okay, that counts.
I love it. It does come off that some people feel like you can't say that you had a positive experience with black men. You don't want to hear it. That goes against the message. This is Nylah says on Cynthia G's panel. The way y'all set this up, the way y'all be talking, the way y'all promote this thing, it does come across as if we can't say we've had positive experiences.
To you only, just like my positive experience is only my positive experience. I will always acknowledge that most women are not going to have that experiences, but I'm not going to deny my experience or be shaded because I haven't had it.
Well, here's a question that I have, because a lot of people, they associate struggle love as a monetary thing. I noticed that, but you have a lot of wealthy relationships. I'll just say what a struggle is overall to me. Set money to the side. Now, yeah, money is one thing. Of course, if you struggle financially, obviously that's going to impact the quality of your life. That being said, even if you are a rich black man, because you live in this type of system, you can walk outside, and then the system that you live in, the climate, your social position can also negatively impact your life, regardless to your money. So there is still a struggle there because you are black. And if there isn't, if we're saying that some black men are exempt from the struggle of being a black man in this society, then that means we don't have a system of racism. We have a system of there's something going on with individual black men. And now
I want to address something real quick. I'm able to actually read these comments right now, and I want to Marshawn Prophet says, why don't you say that exact same thing to Kevin Samuels? He never blamed black men for nothing. I guess that's supposed to be y'all. Black men always come for black women, but never the black man, like they do no wrong. I think you're new around here, so let me help you out. I'm not gonna block you. Check this out. I address men and women. I hold men and women and myself accountable. Everything that I'm asking of, or everything that I'm projecting and promoting, I do it equally. If you're new around here, then you probably won't know that. So I felt like I needed to tell you that. Okay? This is not an attack on anyone. I'm hoping that, you know what I'm saying? But I think this is one of the issues, is that when we're talking about a subject, what we want to do is we want to say, well, why aren't you talking about this, that, and the third? I've addressed the things the concerns that I've had with many content creators and what I feel should be done, based on what will help bring us together to have the conversation. So again, feel free to go through the channel, you know what I'm saying, and check it out and see if I address men and women. Okay? I think that's fair.
Now we got to sift through individual black men to see why they're experiencing these things, because it's clearly not racism.
Can I say something? Because Taz is in the comments being very like Taz. Listen, dude. Like, I can talk about reform mammies all the fuck I want to. It doesn't mean I'm talking.
No, Taz does not need to come on the panel. This is women's conversation and it's already heated enough, okay? Now to speak on what Cynthia said a little bit, I do agree. If you're black and you're, in America, really, if you're black and you're in this world, you're going to have a certain level of struggle. So I definitely see where she's coming from. And yes, I do think there are relationships out there, relationships where it's two black people and where they have healthy relationship dynamics. But I think what Black Womansphere and Sin was saying is that there's always some level of struggle just simply due to their blackness and racism. So dating a black man is always going to come with a certain level of struggle. And yes, I guess I can agree with that to a certain extent.
Come on.
We're talking about a balanced conversation. Dating a black man will always come with a certain level of struggle. How are black women exempt from the trial and tribulations that they face? The struggle that they face? I.e., if I'm dating a black woman, will there not be struggle that comes with that situation as a man?
On a panel, dude, you sitting right in the room anyway, probably. Like, dude, just come on a panel, or you're listening somewhere. You're listening. So, and you got the link, and you have access to the link, Taz. So just come on a panel, because when I was on your channel and you called me dumb twice, I wasn't in your chat pop locking it and dropping it. I left this shit the fuck alone and let you have a fucking opinion. But what you not gonna keep doing just because my access to Nylah is disrespecting me. You not. I wasn't talking about your fucking wife. I've been having this conversation before I you, nigga.
I don't know if there's a prior history with those two, but I don't know why she started cursing. I don't know why she started cursing. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, if that's my spouse, you're not about to curse at my spouse. If you can't have a conversation, because you just talked about not calling each other names, and the minute you had an opportunity to talk to a man, you immediately went in for the jugular. And I don't know why that was necessary. If this was Cynthia G's panel, she should have simply said, stop the cursing, stop, period, stop. Or I'm gonna drop you down or kick you off or whatever the case may be. And this is the issue, that when we have people come together, the first thing somebody wants to do is turn up, as if that makes you the dominant force. Start using curse words as if that makes you the dominant force. No, what it does is it shows that you can't articulate common words to drive home your point. If everybody's a motherfucker and this and that and this, it's like, why are you cursing at me? I'm not your child. You don't have ownership on me, over me. Too much. I think that's too much.
No, this is not the panel for this discussion to take place.
Stop coming at me like, dude, you gonna stop.
Okay, she said this is Cynthia. Hey, look. Hey, she said Cynthia G said, hey, this is not the panel to be discussing this. How long do you let it go before you say, I'm going to stop you? Because right now, Taz exclusive is not on the panel. There are 3 women on the panel. So if you have 3 women on the panel, one of the women are married to Taz exclusive, right? And then the 2 other, one, Cynthia G is the host. So it's only one person right now that's really turning it up. So you can control that person. You can mute them, you can kick them off, and you can flat out tell them to stop.
Disrespecting me, because the only reason why I'm holding back on you and not going haywire is because of your wife and how I feel about her. It's because of you.
I don't know why Nylah says don't hold back. This is my thought process. Now, here's my thought process. Suppose somebody who made I forgot who made the comment or whatever case may be, right? And I stopped the video and I explained to them that I address men and women equally, with concerns. Suppose I would have said before they came up, right? Well, I can't drop the link on this right here, but suppose I would have did this, right? Suppose I would have cursed them out. Who the F you think you is coming on my channel talking that bullshit, right? And then bring them up. Allow them to come up and speak for themselves. Do you think they're coming up coming up humble? Do you think they're going to come up on the panel humble, or you think they're going to come up with a level of aggression based on the energy that I put out? Since I've just been cursing at them and dogging them out and say, hey, you lucky your spouse up here, because I'll really be going in. What man or woman will come up here and just say, you know what, I'm just here. Just be meek, very mild. I'm just here, you know, I heard what you said, but nobody's going to do that. Right now, you're setting the tone for this man to come up already on 10 because you're on 20. We're promoting this negativity and we don't have to do it. If you can't control your panel, don't have a panel. And you can't allow one person to go off and not expect the other people that's going to come on the panel to be cool. That's not balance.
We're gonna hold back on this panel.
Y'all, this is getting messy.
No, that needs to be a conversation, bro. No, that needs to be a discussion that's not going to be, no, that needs to be a behind the scenes discussion that's not going to be on the panel. No.
Okay.
Well, no, not, I'm saying, but she told me to come in here, so I came in here.
With it.
She told me to come here, so I came in here. You need to understand.
Come in, I'm fine with it. Come in.
Right, so this was the problem. I felt like what you were saying was a setup to do what happened. Whether you understand that or not is the question. Then when you go on to say you personalized it. You can't make it seem like I or somebody else misrepresented. You told her directly in response, your husband, your son, you're this, you're that.
What the hell is this dude talking about? Did he listen to the conversation? She said your husband, your son, your dad, but she wasn't referring to Nylah. She was speaking in general. Yeah, she was saying your.
First of all, we always talk about the English language, okay? You have 3 people on the panel. One of the people on the panel is married to a black man and has a black son. If you say, well, your husband is on the bottom of the totem pole, of course they're going to take offense to that. Of course, you're going to say I'm married to a nobody. That's basically what you're sending. And that's why I'm saying this is my concern about content creators. You can always tell which way they're leaning. You understand what I'm saying? Like the content creator was like, what is this guy talking about? He made perfect sense. She said your husband, your son. Even if she was talking in general, she could have said, well, use some general phrases instead of saying your. Of course, the person on the panel that fits that narrative is going to take offense to it. And of course, their husband is going to take offense to it.
But she wasn't talking to Nylah. She was just saying it as far as the women watching the live. Like, what are you talking about? It just seems like Taz was internalizing all the stuff that Black Womansphere was saying because he didn't like.
No. This is the problem with men in women's spaces. And this is what I told Taz exclusive on a video that I did directing straight to him, right? Because he was kind of in my comments trolling for some reason. But I said, you know, you want to talk to me, talk to me. But the fact of the matter is, this is why it's difficult for men to be in those type of spaces. Because it's a gang up. And this is the reason why I tell men, hey, listen, have conversations with men. and let the women have their conversations. Because what happened is, as soon as you got added to the conversation, this woman was allowed to turn up on you and go unchecked. So now you can either keep your composure and let her kind of do whatever she's going to do, or you can turn up. We're going to see what Taz did. Let's see what he did.
He didn't agree, or maybe some of the stuff, triggered him because it applies. I don't know. I don't really know him and Nyla's situation, but I don't get why he's so triggered.
It's
but
people
I
that
didn't say her name.
My nigga,
I never said her name.
Please let me finish.
I was talking about all black women. You cannot say
I rewinded it to listen to it.
I never said Nyla's name.
This is why I said, when you're listening to a content creator, you can always tell which way they're going. The Black Womansphere has been talking for the last, I would say, 5 minutes, yelling and cursing. Not one time did a content creator pause the video and say, I don't understand why she's so triggered. Taz exclusive. Get out of women's spaces. Let them have their conversation. If you want to do some commentary like this, cool. But get out their spaces, bro. This is a no-win. Argue. It's a no-win. It's a no-win.
So you're not gonna do that. Nyla responded based off of you. But I said black women. I literally just did a stream yesterday.
I don't want to argue with you about it. If that's not what you meant.
I got streams. No, because you try to do this shit all the time.
This is not the panel to have this discussion on.
It's not a big deal. She said she didn't mean nothing by it, but I needed to understand when your response was direct. Your response was direct.
No, it was not. I did not.
Okay, all right.
I did not say her.
All right.
Lies. That's lies.
I'm so glad that he left, because this could have got really out of control for Taz, Black Womansphere, and Nylah on Sin's panel. So, yeah, I'm glad that he left the situation, but he should have definitely never brought himself on in the first place, and they should have never extended out the invite, knowing, that he was already mad about what the Black Womansphere was saying in the chat. I think that was a bad idea.
I thought she was just talking about all black women in general. That's honestly, I didn't think that she was personalizing it to Nylah. I thought she was just talking about it in general.
About them every time I fucking say something, as if they fucking lead my life. This is my opinion that I had way before I fucking met Nylah, nor a fucking Taz. This is my opinion. The fuck? This shit is getting old. Nigga, if you offended, just say that. But I didn't fucking say your name. I didn't say Nyla's name. What I said was this. You cannot keep protecting black men based off of your father. And I even included my own father. So for you to come in here and think that it was about you, you think too much of yourself when it come to me. Because I wasn't talking about you. I even included my own father.
Right.
This is crazy. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I didn't think it was personally directed at anybody else, but it is what it is. So at some point, like, we got to move past it so the discussion can progress. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, I didn't think that she was just saying it about Nylah, because she did start with saying that her opinion is based on her own dad, and also mentioned other people talking about their dads and their which is something that I announced on a live stream, that I don't think people should tell us about their personal experiences with individual black men. That doesn't have anything to do with the overall collective. It doesn't matter how much you decorate your dad or your brother or the dude up the street that you knew. That's not a representation of the overall black male collective. So, I mean, the discussion should probably be had, but it should not be had on this panel. That's one thing I do know. It should not be had on this panel. That's not what this is for. Black men do a very good job of separating the overall collective of black women from their own family members. Black women do not.
Boy, ain't that the truth, okay? Black men are great at demonizing black women, separating themselves from black women, and staying on code when it comes to black men, okay? Black women, we need to honestly take notes.
They don't. And Taz knows this. If Taz would have stepped up, because remember that dude that I debated on your panel, Taz, and he kept saying, Taz kept asking him, what does he think about Black women? And he kept saying, oh, I love my mom.
Right.
When Taz was asking him about Black women in a dating capacity, but he kept saying, oh, I love my mom. Then when he said, okay, well, what about dating Black women? The dude said, oh, Black women are cool, but I just choose not to date them. Therefore, he's drawing a difference between the people that he knows, meaning his mother, from the overall collective of Black women. So why is it that Black women seem to not be able to do that?
All right, so as far as my final thoughts, I am going to start off by giving you guys my general opinion on the question I posed at the beginning of the video. Should we take into account our own positive experiences, and should we be taking into account the exceptions when we're having the general conversation of Black men? After that, I'm going to be giving my opinion on how each one of the ladies reacted in this situation and what I think we can learn from this, okay? So, to speak to the overarching question here, I do not believe we should be using our personal experiences or the exceptions when we're discussing Black males, Black male babies, all of that stuff. I do not believe we should be taking that into account for three main reasons. Reason number one, Black men do not give Black women that courtesy, okay? Oftentimes when they're talking about Black women that, abuse their children, Black women that are out here making other Black women look terrible, Black women that are promiscuous, Black women that honestly just don't represent the majority of Black women, they don't say some Black women, they don't say this Black woman, they just say Black women, okay? They generalize all Black women, and that's one contributing factor to why Black women have the type of reputation that we have today, which we all know is not the most positive. So as far as sparing our image, these men have never, ever, ever took the Black woman's image into account to try to spare it, right? To try to separate us from Black women who weren't carrying themselves with dignity. No, they've never done that. They just generalize us as all one loud, crazy, overweight, masculine, aggressive, unsubmissive group of women. So
this is my issue with her dialogue going out. Why is it okay for anyone to generalize anyone? If you don't want to say the collective is X, Y, and Z, I find what you're saying to be a bit odd, because throughout this conversation of the Cynthia G's panel, it's been about the generalization of Black men and where they fall in society and this and that and this. But then you say, well, Black men are doing the same thing, but Black men are wrong. But what Cynthia G is doing is right. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I don't get. I really want. That's why I just let it play. But I really want you guys to listen to what she's saying. She's making excuses, saying that Black men treat Black women like this. They group them together and say that they're all loud, they're all promiscuous, they're all this, they're all that. But this is the same logic that Cynthia G is using when she tries to say that the collective of Black men ain't this, and they don't do that, and they don't do this. So if I'm a content creator and I'm trying to give a balanced perspective, right? I can't say they doing it, but don't say they doing it. And then say it's fair and impartial. Then say that I'm biased, I'm just trying to give my opinion.
Why on earth would we take our positive experiences or the exceptions to try to humanize Black men when they've never given us the same courtesy, and when literally these are our attackers we're talking about? Why are we trying to humanize our attackers? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Humanize our attackers. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to say anything.
A lot of you pro-black people, you say all white people are this, all white people are that, all white people are not racist, all white people are not crazy, all white people do not have an agenda out against black people, but you guys like to generalize them, right? You don't ever say some, you don't ever make that distinction. Black men don't do that for black women. So why do black women feel like it is our duty to make that distinction and say not all, when once again, we don't get that in return? Number two, the exception does not make the rule. I thought we learned that in math class, 5th grade. Like, come on now. The exception does not make the rule. And we know what the rule is by looking at stats, statistics, right? By looking at patterns, by looking at history. We know what the rule is. We know what the general consensus is. We know what these men are telling us in droves online. So no, we cannot look at our own personal experiences or look at the exception to make the rule. And number three, there's no way to take into account everyone's exception, everyone's experiences. A lot of women lie about their experiences because they're trying to make their situation seem better than what it actually is. There's absolutely no way to take into account logically everyone's situation. So we have to look at data, statistics, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think she just debunked her own argument. If there's no way to take into consideration everybody's experience, how can you now say, well, we're going to use if you can't report the good stuff, obviously all the bad stuff must be true. Everybody that reports the good stuff, well, they could be lying. They could be fabricating that. But everybody that reports something bad, that is the God honest truth. The commentator or the content creator that is talking right now said that she has a great relationship with her uncles, her father, and her stepfather. And she is online talking about our attackers. Do she consider the black men around her attackers? Is this what she has told them, that they are attackers? I don't get the logic. And she talked about math class and the exceptions to the rule or whatever. How do you treat them? Do you give them respect because they give you respect? Or do you disrespect them based on statistics? I can't respect you because statistics say that black men ain't shit. So even though you raised me, even though that you provided a home for me, you put band-aids on my knee, you wipe my eyes when I cry, you supported me, you took me to ballet, you put me in piano class, you helped get stuff for my hair. Even though you've shown me that you are an exception to the rule, I must go by these statistics and say all black men. That is fucking delusional. You have more than one example of good black men. So therefore, promoting the narrative of all is disingenuous.
We have to look at the general consensus of everyone's experiences, right? And see trends and things like that. So looking at antidotes and individual experiences is not the way that you have a collective overarching conversation. That's not how you do that. So no, I don't believe anyone's black man is the exception. Now, as far as my opinion on how each of the ladies handled things, starting off with Nylah, I definitely believe that Nylah personalized the situation way too much. Okay, the Black Womansphere never said your man. She never said your marriage, your son, your father. I see how Nylah could have felt like, oh, you're taking shots at me because she's married to a black man, she has a black son, and she has a black father that she has a positive relationship with. So I could see how she could interpret it as shots. But once again, when you're having a general conversation, you then can't all of a sudden start personalizing things, right? I also don't like when she was like, okay, well, yeah, overall, they're economically at the bottom, but my man got white men outside waiting for him to give them money. I don't like how she did that. See, once again, you're personalizing it. You're taking your man, your experience, and you're trying to use him as a scapegoat when we're having an overall conversation. When we're having a conversation about black men and their position in society as a total, in totality, right? So that has nothing to do with you, your marriage, your son, your father, none of that. And this is coming from a woman who has had positive experiences dating Black men. I have positive experience with my father. I have positive experiences with a lot of my uncles. I don't have a son, but I have brothers that I love with all my heart. But I'm not going to take my love for them and those positive experiences that I've had with them and then use that as the blueprint for what Black men are, because I know that that's not true. Now, moving on to Black Womansphere, I don't really think that she did anything wrong. I think she could have definitely addressed the situation in more of a calm manner and maybe not like came for all the things that applied to Nylah, but...
Stop. You are not being fair and impartial. You are not. Okay? You are not. The Black Womansphere was cursing and yelling at the top of her lungs before Taz came, when he was on the panel, and after he left. You paused your video and said that Taz was triggered. Now, I've heard Taz go off and I've heard his voice raise the hell up. That wasn't the situation on that panel. But you're sitting here trying to package what she did as acceptable. And it's not. If we're not going to be realistic, then why are we having the conversation? If we're not going to be realistic, if we're not going to do the tough, it seems like for some reason when it's time to make the tough call, have the tough conversation, we shy away from it. Right now, you should be giving the Womansphere podcast some tough love and telling her you were totally disrespectful and triggered. But you didn't use that verbiage, and I wonder why. I wonder why.
See, even then, I feel weird saying that, because if you're going to have a conversation, you have to be honest, and certain things are going to hit you. I've had certain conversations with my friends, with certain coworkers, and they said things that applied to me, that hit me, and I'm just like, damn, I've done that, or I've said that. But I have to understand that I'm not a perfect person. So just because something hits you, I don't think that you should necessarily get offended. I think you should see why it's hitting you, and you should check your own situation. So I'm even hesitant to say that I don't like how Black Womansphere addressed the situation, but I do believe just because they are friends, once Nylah, confronted her, she could have been a little bit more sensitive with her response. But we all know Black Womansphere, she always says that she lives in her dark femininity. So she was definitely going to go at Nylah and Taz full steam. And they definitely came at her as well. So yeah, I just felt like I would have wanted one of them to be a little bit more calm in that situation. But they definitely did talk it out and get calm towards the end. I also like the fact that when things were getting heated, Taz walked away. I don't think he should have even came on in the first place, even though Black Womansphere gave him the invite. I think that was just a messy conversation, and like Cynthia said, it should have been handled behind the scenes. So him jumping on, I felt like as a man, they say a man, he should have known better than to jump on. But I'm glad he had enough sense to walk away when things were getting, tense, or even more tense than what they already were. Now, as far as Taz, I felt like Taz should not have jumped in, because this is women's conversation. When you men in the manosphere, I don't know if Taz is part of the manosphere, but when men are having their conversations and they're generalizing women, I don't see them trying to say, oh, not all. Maybe Taz does that because he is married to Nylah. I don't really watch a lot of his content, so maybe he does. I don't want to speak on behalf of him, but I think he should have definitely just stayed out of the chat, stayed out of the live, and just let Black Womansphere and Nylah hash it out between the girls, right? Between the women. But yes, overall, I think Sinji definitely took a good amount of control over that situation. She calmed down and de-escalated the situation. And that's definitely something that needs to be talked about and worked out behind the scenes, so it doesn't keep spilling onto YouTube, because this is supposed to be like a united front. It can't be a united front if every single week or so people are getting into arguments, they're going back and forth. It was Tanya TKO, now it's Black Womansphere and Nylah. I remember Irene and Black Womansphere got into it, Pink Pill versus Cynthia G and Crystal Swirls, and all this other crazy stuff. It's a lot. And I understand we're all different in the space. We all come from different walks of life. We all have different experiences. We all can find similarity and commonality with each other. That's why we're all in this space. But we do all have varying experiences. We have different personality types, all that stuff. So we have to understand we're not always going to get along. Sometimes we're going to clash. Like, it makes sense. But in order to really get the message through, we do have to put up a united front, and we do have to know how to handle things behind the scenes and work it out behind the scenes instead of continuously putting it out for everyone to see. Because then...
Okay, I'm going to stop there right there, and I'm going to give my closing statements. Your united front is to promote your hatred for men. That's the message that you want to get out. And you're mad, or you have a certain level of what you're trying to do is you're trying to soften the blow of saying, well, if we have a disagreement, it needs to be behind the scenes so we can promote this united front. The issue with that is that whether you're a man, a beta male, alpha male, mega man, whatever it is that you call yourself or whatever, you know that everything ain't peaches and cream. Right? You know that everything is not peaches and cream. I feel like you don't want people to see your dirty laundry. You don't want to see, you don't want, when Tanya TKO say, hey, look, I am not down with this whole, killing unborn babies before they, males before they're born. Like, I'm out. Nylah say, hey, look, I get it. It's a lot of black men and black women having disagreements or whatever, but I'm good with mine. Like, for some reason, when a woman inside the little group or circle of trust says something that doesn't go with the narrative of hate, when it doesn't go with the narrative of hate, then that person is targeted. That person is subjected to negativity. We don't want people calling Nylah Sales names, but we allow people to call men names. What happens if we actually start setting the example? This is when I give you tough love. What happens if we, as men and women, regardless of red pill, blue pill, pink pill, black pill, whatever, right? Individual thoughts, Republicans, Democrats, whatever it is that you are. What happens if we start setting the example? What happens if we start communicating? We start working together. We start being serious about building. See, here's the thought process. The empowerment of women should never be the devalue of men. The empowerment of men should never be the devalue of women. That makes no sense. You can't build the right side without building the left side because there will be no foundation. The sad truth is that when you start talking about, well, this is the reason why I don't want to have a black son. I believe that these black males should not be born, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't take into consideration the people that are born. That these women that are on your page are mothers and wives and girlfriends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there is no empowerment being pushed to them other than to say, I'm going to continue to point out all the negative about you as a man. I'm going to emasculate you. I'm going to treat you lesser than. I'm going to put you beneath and behind me. I'm going to tell you that you are inferior to other races of men. I'm going to praise those other races of men. So what does that do for a man's psyche? What does that do for the men that you date? For the good men that you yourself said that you know? Should they be unbothered? Should they join the manosphere and say, oh, hell no, they ain't gonna be talking about us? Or should they try to bridge the gap? If you promote hatred, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get hatred in return. If you promote disdain, if you promote lack of accountability, then 9 times out of 10, no one else is going to take accountability. I have never heard Cynthia G say that there are some women out there that are bad apples. I've never personally heard her say that. I've never heard her point out the fact that if we say fathers are not in the home, then that means that there are single mothers in the home. So therefore, these men that are growing up, they're growing up with single mothers. So who is teaching them how to be a man? Should fathers be in the home? Yes. If they can't be in the home, should they be connected to the home? Yes. Should men be men? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But that doesn't exclude the responsibility of women. And that doesn't give you a reason to weaponize your verbiage towards men. Me personally, because I know my worth and I stand by what I say. And I know that there are confident women and confident men in my support system and in my circle. And they would never allow a message like Cynthia G to penetrate who they are, because they realize the importance of teamwork and working together and building relationships, both professionally and personally. I feel sorry for the men around these women that feel that coming to social media and telling them how bad the collective is, how we generalize the collective and never promote the good men in their life. That's sad. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I am MarioJaye. This is Tough Love. I appreciate you guys for taking the time, listening to my perspective. It is about building slowly but surely. I wish Cynthia G, Nylah Says, the Black Womansphere, also the other podcast, I can't see her name right now. I wish you guys the best. And I hope that your message, as you move forward, gets balanced. There are a lot of bad apples that are men, and there are a lot of bad apples that are women. But there are a lot of good people out there that you say you know, that I feel like you should be promoting more to create balance in your space. Till next time, adult up. Peace.